Hey everyone, hope everyone's having a good week. As usual, I gotta say sorry for the hiatus. I started a new program. I finished the program in December, so that's good. I started another program for machine learning, and data science foundations with Carnegie Mellon in January. I think like mid January. It is. I've taken Python for years, so it should be a breeze. But this program has been very robust, and like I think the toughest thing is like they are they have live classes every single week, and it's like there is a schedule to adhere to. So I've already noticed that I've fallen behind at least a week. I'm sorry, at least like half a week, maybe going to a week. So I got a little bit of catching up to do, which is probably going to affect consistency with putting out live streams. But I definitely wanted to do this live stream, and I changed the name of it because, I love the album art of the last one about the Passport Bros. They want fit, feminine, and felonies. Might come back to that, but I felt like it kind of came, and it's kind of like, you know, it's we haven't gotten like some besides the initial Floyd news, like we haven't gotten like some really huge news besides that. We'll cover that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And we actually might get an appearance from the woman I'm dating, aka my girlfriend. But I want to get into this. So corrections. I don't know if there are any corrections. Final thoughts from the last show. Let's go for that. I like the last show, but yeah, I think this is really timely to kind of talk about the last show. I ended up having a guest, and I think Fearless also joined too. This guest named Sir Him, and Sir Him, we had this kind of like nice little interview, and like many other people before, Sir Him was saying, "I just think you should try being a passport bro." Well, just like a lot of other people who've said that in the past, it's like that's the worst advice ever. I've been saying that for like over a year, maybe a year and a half or so. Is like, yo, the passport bros have ruined the reputation of black men traveling. Like we're gonna just at the very least get a side eye in some of these countries. And shortly after the last live that I did, the Floyd news came out. So if I had flown I forget where he got busted. He got busted in Brazil. Had I traveled to Brazil around that time, I might have got sent back for no good reason. But like I said, the people who suggest, I think you should be a passport bro. No, terrible advice. Hey, the type of woman you're trying to get, you should just go find that overseas. No, 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 no. We're not doing that. Let me go to the comments real quick. Hey, what's going on, Big X? Oh, it's Big J. Okay, okay. I haven't seen you. I've heard. I think you're a YouTuber as well. I don't know if you're still on, but I think you're. If I'm not incorrect, I think you're a YouTuber as well. Let me go back to the banners though. So again, Sir Him was like, there's a couple things that Sir Him asked. It was kind of a nice little interview. He was trying to prompt me with this. What would you do if a woman tried to like lie on you or like make a false accusation? And I'm like, there's a couple things I want to come back and I want to say about that. First and foremost, that's not going to happen. This is all hypothetical. It's all as Dipset would say, it's DuckTales, because I think one of the strengths that I bring is like I keep a very small footprint. I don't think there's a very and like I said, I try to leave things. Try to leave people in situations I try to leave them better than when how I found them. So um the odds of that happening is not gonna really it's not really gonna happen. I think when you think about people who have false accusations, it's like people like Jonathan Majors. It's someone who has something to, something really, really, really large to lose. I think the problem with the red pill and the manosphere is they brainwash men, specifically black men, to think that, oh my God, every single guy is fair game to get a false accusation. And it's like, that shit is not gonna happen. If you out here doing people dirty, that's a whole different story. And I don't do that. So like like I said, after that last live, and Sir Him was just like, "Yo, what happens if? What would you do if someone said this about you?" And I'm like, "That shit's not gonna happen." I keep a small footprint. I try to stress not trying to make women feel uncomfortable. And I said, like, I don't do people like that. I don't hang around people like I don't hang around those type of people. I don't hang around low lives. I'm 40. I'm 43. 43 years old. You might have seen me in my 20s. That was kind of high key, a little exciting sometimes. Um, they're a fun time, but especially at 40, it's like, yo, yeah, it could still be a fun time, but like I'm thinking I'm moving in a little bit differently, and I'm like, I'm not gonna put myself in certain dangerous situations. And some of that has just been my entire life. Like, I'll tell you that right now. I'm from St. Louis. I've never been to East St. Louis. No disrespect. I'm not looking for I'm not trying to run the danger. So it's like when you look at like the passport roads, these dudes are flying, they are fleeing to places where they know they can get scoped, where they know people have gotten unalive, where they know people have gotten kidnapped, where they know people have gotten snatched up. They're willing. Listen, I gotta tip my hat off to them. They're stronger than me. I'm not gonna do that shit. I wouldn't even drive over to East St. Louis. Nope, not doing that. Let's see. Let's see. Humanity as a whole is addicted to smut journalism. Yeah, you're right, Larry Wilson. The reason why AI creates so many bad things. I mean, it's more for conversation, Larry Wilson. Like, I know, yes, a lot of most people, humanity as a whole, is addicted to smut journalism. Yes, I think like what the manosphere is kind of like consuming. It's like a different breed, different brand of like smut journalism. It's like self-hate smut journalism. But now we know for sure that the manospheric men can't sit up here and fold their hands and act like, oh no, it's only women that love gossip. Oh no. This red pill manosphere stuff. These channels. It's kind of like almost like the Word Up magazine, People magazine, and that's kind of a little more highbrow than what they're doing. It's like a gossip magazine for men. Anton Daniels, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is basically smut journalism and gossip magazine. It's like Funky Dineva for straight men, and I'm sure some of his fans are not necessarily cisgendered. He might not even be in himself, but no judgment. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, you're right, Larry Wilson. So it's like all I'm trying to say is like the manosphere and a lot, often a lot of men try to frame it as got only women like gossip. No. No, and we can put that to bed now. So let's go into some other banners. Like we're talking about the thoughts from the last show. Let's talk about some like pop culture news. Like, it's been a while, so I think I haven't streamed since Christmas. Christmas went well. The woman who I'm dating and I, like, we spent Christmas, and then together we spent New Year's as well. Her company had like a party. She's kind of in the she's a musical director for a certain company that hosts events. So like we got to have like a nice little New Year's with music and dancing and stuff like that. Christmas was good. She's a big I gotta come harder with it this year. But I last year, I know she's a big, huge Jeffrey Osborne stan. So like I know she purchased this like retro Jeffrey Osborne tour from like the 90s sweatshirt and off of eBay, and she was eyeing this t-shirt too. And I was like, since I know she got the sweatshirt, I was like, okay, she didn't get the t-shirt, so I'm gonna get her that. And then I was kind of struggling for some other gifts, and I was like, okay, at the last minute, I was kind of like, I'll just get some signed, records from Jeffrey Osborne. So I got like a signed LTD one, a signed Jeffrey Osborne, might have been like maybe his first solo or something like that, but she loved those. I think for me, she got me like a big Chris Rock poster. And listen, I set the standard. I was like, hey, let's try not to like spend over, let's not go crazy with Christmas and stuff like that. Because like we were December, there was a lot of stuff going on for a car, so like so I wanted to kind of set that bar or whatever. But still, anyway, we had like a good Christmas. I want to like move over to. I'm trying to think of what else happened, but I know I did something about the Super Bowl. I hated that I didn't get to stream. I didn't stream before the Super Bowl, but hold on. I know I put something here about the Super Bowl. I hope I did. I can't find it, but yeah, here it was. So basically, Super Bowl happened. 2 years in a row, I'm 0 for 2. And I knew this time that the Patriots were like not favored. The Seahawks were a heavy favorite. I wanted so badly for not Offset, for Stephon Diggs to get his first Super Bowl. That dude had went from team to team, and he was famous for like standing on the sidelines watching the other team win the playoff game and advance. And I was like, I just want to see him win that Super Bowl. Like, but I was telling my neighbor, I was like, I'm not gonna be mad if either team wins, because like they're both very deserving. Cooper Kupp, he has a nice little story for the Rams, a nice little fuck you story to the Rams. They really did him dirty. Tried to rub his smear, do a whole smear campaign on him. And I think he's like originally from Seattle or whatever, but that's besides the point. But like Sam Darnold, another nice FU story, a nice little FU tour, quite frankly, because he bounced from team to team, to team. And then he ended up, leading this team. I guess they call them the darkness defense or something like that. And me and my neighbor were like having this conversation. He was like trying to talk me off a ledge, saying like, yo, I think this game is going to get ugly. I don't know if I think it's gonna be a blowout. Like that defensive line for the Seattle Seahawks is like, it's really a force. And I was kind of like, you know what? I've been playing in I went like 17, 18-0 in like Eliminator, and I noticed how good the Patriots were. Maybe I didn't notice how good they were, because like I said, I saw them in the playoff game. It was very misleading because they were playing against the Denver Broncos. They beat them in the snow against a backup quarterback. Stidham is kind of trash. But so I was like, I thought that I threw that game out, and I said, you know what? I saw how that defense came out against Houston. I've seen these Patriots all season. They were really good. As long as they protect Drake May, I think they can light up these Seahawks. But I knew that, hey, after seeing that Denver game, I was like, if they don't protect them, I know how this game's gonna look. I mean, man, me and the when I'm dating, like we were scrambling to find like a sports bar to watch this game. And like nobody say this before the sports bar, like nobody picked Patriots. Let's put that on record. Nobody picked them. I picked them. ESPN, I don't think a single soul picked them. It was like 99% Seahawks picks for good reason. And like I knew I was up against that amongst a lot of other things. But like again, we were scrambling to find us some place to watch the Super Bowl. We get to a place that she recommends. I'm looking around, and I'm like, okay, the waitress, she's got a Seahawks jersey on, a retro one, like Sean Alexander. All right. I look to the bar, the bartender's got like a t-shirt on, Seahawks. I look up, the chandelier, like the bottles, the lights, it's all green. I'm like, is this a fucking Seahawks bar? Shit. And lo and behold, we were in a Seahawks bar in like the little 5 Points of Atlanta. And so that was not a good sign too. And so like again, like this game, it was belt to ass. Like they got their ass whooped, and on top of it, to insult to injury, my girlfriend, the woman I'm dating, she was like, "Hey, let's make a bet that like you got to like do you got to dress up like Pretty Raheem and do a nice little dance if you lose." And I was like, that's not even a fair bet, because like I know the Seahawks are heavily favored, but I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll make the bet. Like, and this is like in game while we finally got to the sports bar. Listen, I don't remember what the score was. It might have been like 50-14. It was terrible. Um, but like I said, I lost a bet. I knew this time I look listen, the Patriots, I mean Chiefs and Eagles, it could have gone either. I thought it could have gone either way. It was a blowout though. With this game, I knew the Patriots were a super big underdog, even though it was a 4.5 point spread. And I said, I'm just rooting for what's his face? Stephon Diggs. And he had a bad night. I don't even know who had the worst night, if it was Stephon Diggs or Drake May, but like, again, it was belt to ass. Hats off to both of those teams. They had great seasons, but I don't know even if the Broncos would have had Bo Nix. I don't know if it would have been much different. Like that defense was like a masterclass. It was actually, to be rooting against the Seahawks, it was not a fun game to root against them. I was uncomfortable. And once I was like, once the Patriots, I think I walked out. I demanded that we walk out when Drake May scored his first touchdown, like in the fourth. I was like, check, please. Like, I want out. I'm going to throw a fit if I have to watch any more of this game. It was a wrap. But because I was on Boxing too, and I was looking in a thread, and people, I was like, is this going to be a blowout Super Bowl? I mean, a shutout Super Bowl, which I don't even know has happened or not. But like, it was giving me, the last time I saw the Seahawks, I was rooting for. I'm a Peyton Manning stan. I was rooting. I had my jersey on. I was at home, and they got their ass beat in the Super Bowl. Then the Colts and the Colts and the Saints, they got their ass beat. The Rams and the Patriots, the last one, they got their ass beat. And that was hard to watch. Like, this was one of the hardest to watch Super Bowls in recent memory. It might have been the worst. I mean, but it was not really anything to take away from the Patriots. It was the Seahawks are just really, really like that. And I wanted so hard to believe that the Patriots line was not going to get beat down like that. That they were going to that we were going to get to see a Drake May type game. Like, if just like my mind came into the game was like, yo, I get it. The Broncos and Patriots game was trash. The Seahawks and Rams game was trash. I mean, was great. High scoring affair. And I was like, okay, if you're going to give Drake May a shot like that, you're going to give him opportunities to score like that, I'm going with Drake May. I was wrong. And you're on the wrong side of history when Skip is making the picks, and he's picking Patriots with the most trash analogies and points ever. And Stephen A. Smith, who's historically bad at Super Bowl picks, he's picking the Seahawks. I was like, man, I'm setting up for a rough ride here. But yeah, I owe her a dance. Fuck. So I lost another bet. I'm gonna get it right next year. Let's see. Let me go to these comments. Let's see, people who are successful tend to communicate and then work with people who are not, which is not the majority of the public. So I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say here. People who are successful tend to communicate and network with people who are, which is not the majority. Okay, I get it. I don't disagree. Of course, you're gonna get high caliber people. Yeah, I think some of these talking points are gonna be into like some of the stuff I'm talking about. There's also a lot of people in society that are not successful. Inequality transfers to different aspects, including how people see that. I agree with this. I agree with this, Larry Wilson. I appreciate you joining in the comments. The way you act and function, okay, all right. Every single group of people, there's people who become less successful. There's always people who are less successful and become resentful. Yeah. What's up, Wacky World? Good to see y'all. Good to see you. Let's see, for many people in the manosphere who are typically people who, yes, we've completely agree on this. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show too. Like, for example, people in the main. Yeah, I think it's for a lot of different reasons, and some of their reasons conflict some of the manosphere tenets too. But I think that, like, also the reason why they might be less successful, I think there might be a lot of reasons, and even just a lot of like self-inflicted reasons and outcomes that like it's not as hard as they think it is. Um, but a lot of these people are being brainwashed. A lot of these people are do not like failure. I get it. It's hard. Rejection is tough. I try to dodge it a little bit. That's one of the reasons why I don't, really talk to women in public. But that's one reason. And like I said, I'll talk to them in a private setting or whatever. But like, I don't want to be, there's some people who want to make a living on just approaching women. That's the only way they meet them. Hats off to them. I don't do it like that. I've explained that on podcast. I'm going to do it on apps. I'm going to do it on, social gatherings, things like that. But I'm not doing that cold approach stuff. Mm-mm. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's see. No one, or why many of them. Yeah. And like, I think there's a lot of other elements to that. Like I was saying, Larry Wilson, I think the woman who I'm dating, who's probably going to make an appearance on this episode. I think we were talking about a lot of different things, and it's like, I think people come from different upbringings, and that's something we'll never be able to see. One of the strengths of the manosphere is like the anonymity of, they're never really speaking about themselves. They're speaking about a hypothetical person, a Chad. And they've already typecast that Chad and said, this is who he is. Like, he doesn't even he's not a normal person. He's just a sexual deviant. He's just a person that's trying to fuck everybody's girl. He could just be a guy who was just born with good looks, a guy who was just born muscular, a guy who's just a professional athlete or whatever. But no, they got to frame the Chads as he's fucking everybody's girl. Like, he doesn't have his own life to live. He just has to play a role, a predictable role. But I think it's like, one of the elements I want to say was like the upbringings, Larry Wilson. I want to also bring in the fact that like some people have low self-esteem, some people have unhealed trauma. Some people also have not, to your point about the success, just like in careers and in dating and social things, some of these people have failed to figure out where they fit in. And that's maybe rejection's playing a part of that, and maybe they just haven't figured out where they fit in. They haven't figured out their social circles. They haven't figured out how to socially adjust. But it's worth a conversation. Let me see. Let me go back to that. Yeah, you said no wonder why many of them have a negative perspective on life in general. Okay, less successful people in general do not receive the same recognition as successful. Okay. And I think like happiness is relative. Like they tell you all the time sometimes, like just because you get money doesn't mean it's going to make you happy. So happiness is a lot. It could be based on other things too. It could be social, it could be family, it could be, it could be other things, giving back to society, I don't know, maybe mentoring. It could be a lot of other things. And I think for whatever reason, like we were talking about earlier, it's like these upbringings of these people. I don't know about y'all, but like I know like my late maternal grandmother, because I went to Morehouse, she would always, every time I was hanging around her, she was always bigging up me in front of her friends, like, this is my grandson, he's a Morehouse man. So like I had different people, and my mother, different people in my life, my brother, siblings, other siblings as well, like that would big me up and just kind of like flower me with compliments and just pick me ups and all this other stuff. So it's like, so I've always said on some of these podcasts, like I'm not looking to Andrew Tate and being like, oh my God, like I gotta look to him for confidence. Like I already come with my own. Like I look at his and I'm kind of like, I mean, it's mad performative. He definitely loves himself, I can tell you that, but like it's very performative. So it's just like to a little bit to play contrarian, the recognition, I agree with you to an extent. It's like the people who are more successful, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be getting all the kudos for all things. They might be getting great kudos for their career or how much money they earn or how much they're able to do for people, but like in terms of money, but they might not have the best relationships. They might not have the best friendships. They might not have a lot of things that the people who are less successful have. Um, let's see. Let's move on. It would have been a more exciting game if the Seahawks played. Yeah, it might have, and we'll never know. But I'll give you that. Like, I feel sorry for Drake May. He had a damn good season. He was second runner up for MVP, one weird vote away from because somebody voted for that dude from the Chargers, Justin Herbert, as a MVP first choice. So I think I'd have to go look at the stats, but I think it was like very, very tight. They said it was the tightest MVP race since Peyton Manning and oh my God, someone help me. Steve McNair. I was about to forget. Steve McNair got co-MVPs that year. So like Drake May, I think he might have beat out Matt Stafford on first place votes, and he was like one more first place vote away from winning it outright. But I felt bad for Drake May, but he's a second year quarterback, and that's incredible to get to the Super Bowl in a second year. I don't think anybody's done that since like Russell Wilson, maybe Kaepernick that I can remember. I don't maybe Terry Bradshaw. I don't know. We have to look at the history, but that doesn't happen very often. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go back to that post, Wacky. I'm so glad that the Broncos didn't make it because of how bad their coach was talking about Russell Wilson, how he treated Russell Wilson while he was on the team, how he treated him when he was off the team. So like I was kind of cheering when those Broncos got eliminated. It was kind of a fuck you to me from me. It's being like, hey, you know what? At least and I forget his name, the coach of the Broncos, ex-coach of the Saints. I should know his name, but I was so glad that the Broncos didn't make it, even though they have an incredible team. I'm glad they didn't make it because like I want to see bad people not win. I don't want to see bad people win. So, okay, and this is a good post. You know what? I want some Super Bowl picks from everybody. My long shot pick next year is actually going to be the Jets. Some people are already kind of making their long shot picks of next year. Some people are saying Bears. I think Stephen A. Smith said Bears. That's not a super long shot pick, but the Seahawks this year were kind of a somewhat long shot pick. They were kind of like 60-1. It's not like super long pick, long shot, but I think my long shot pick is going to be the Jets. Going to be in the next, if not next year, the next couple of years, they're going to just, oh shit, they're the Colts. They're good. They're good now. But so like, yeah, this season was in toilet. They were trash, but I think the Jets are going to turn things around. I could be wrong. That's going to be my long shot pick. But if I were to say a real pick for next year, I'm gonna go with my boy Goff. I'm gonna go with the Lions. Their window is kind of closing. So let me read this post. As a Jet fan, I'm kind of upset because my team drafted Storm down. See, I mean, but y'all weren't ready to use them. So it's like that's the sad piece about this wacky world is like, yes, y'all have Sam Darnold. The people that really need to be upset is the Vikings, the 49ers. They had him and he was ready, or very close to ready. The Jets, he wasn't ready yet. He was a joke of the league. He just wasn't ready yet. The team wasn't ready to support. They had Aaron Rodgers. They had who else did they have? I think they had Geno. Let's go. Scarcity and inequality naturally increases a lot of problems. Yeah, you're right. Less people in general do not receive the same recognition. Then one must put themselves in a position of success. Okay, yeah, I agree with that. When it comes to dating, one has to accept that every person will have an interest and will not share the same feelings. Yeah, I think what you're saying is like, everybody's going to have interest in somebody, and that person might not share the same feelings. Yeah. I like this. I like this wacky world. Like, listen, this was the story of me and the married woman. Like, 2 years ago, I guess a year ago, year and a half ago, or something like that. It was 2024. Um, it happens, and it's like you have to be able to, similar to the conversation I was having with Larry Wilson. It's like you got to be able to take a licking and keep on ticking, keep on whatever the fuck it. Take a licking and keep on ticking. Like, you got to be able to move on. You got to be able to, like I said, hats off to Drake May. Um, you got to be able to sometimes think you're there, and still face defeat or still face a loss, and get up and keep going. Um, I think that, and I've said it on many podcasts on this channel, is like I'm never gonna forgive the big men on campus, the grifters, the conservative dudes, and just anybody backing this nerdy culture of this victim mindset culture of, like, as men, we should be empowering each other to be able to absorb these losses, get low for a little minute, however we, seek the support that you need. But this crying and whining about not getting what you want, and that's not just the nerds. I think that there's all the problem with this conversation, this red pill stuff, is we don't really have the true data of what's really going on. We are speculating based on like loose statistics. For all we know, the big men on campus could be struggling too and whining too. And I think no matter who you are, if you're whining about dating, and we'll get into some more statistics. I mean, more opinions about that. But like, I think it's corny. I mean, I think it's extremely corny, and I think like it's like I said, I have talking points probably on the docket for it, but it's just like they're not the type of people I want in the foxhole with me. They're not the type of people I want on my team. I want people that, because you're going to bring the whole morale down of the team. I'm not saying you can't cry, but there's a difference between crying and whining. There's a big difference. But yeah, I agree with you, Wacky World. Salute to this, salute to you, salute to Larry Wilson. Fire post so far. It's like you got to be able to, the boo-hoo. Everybody, like I said, it's the whining. If you want to cry, if you want to call that a boo-hoo, I think people are entitled to boo-hoo, but like everybody's gonna get rejected. Everybody's going to not. I think there's this sense of entitlement of, you know, if you make six figures, if you're this type of person, you should feel entitled to this. And I think, like I said, I think that's one of the biggest pieces of it, is like there's a sense of entitlement of this person should want you, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of whether they have children or not, regardless if they have lower education than you or lower success than you or not. Like, there are no guarantees. There are none. But they're trying, like I said, they're trying to sell this story as if it's impossible to date. And I think it's grievance culture on steroids. Yeah, like everybody can say, like, I think there's something, there's nothing, these guys, there's nothing to satisfy them short of a woman like and reimbursing them for the date. And I think they would still have shit to talk. Um, let's see. Primarily, given the nature of human nature and inequality, the only thing you can prevent as many problems is to establish safety net, other problems to balance out. I'm gonna read this again. Primarily, given the nature of human nature and inequality, the only thing you can do to prevent many problems is to establish a safety net. Yeah, I mean, this is a good post. This is a fire post. Like, especially in the economy that we're dealing with, people are going to get hurt from how that's going to shake out. Um, um, but like, and also from the dating standpoint, like, the best thing you can do to kind of like parlay that a little bit is like to work on yourself, to prepare yourself, for the life you want to be able to have, for the things that you want to have in life. Um, to your point, some of your other points of like, some of these people are just really miserable about not positioning themselves well for the type of person they would like to date. Um, maybe in some cases, a person at all. Um, it could go so much longer than that. Let's see. Artificial intelligence will create a lot of inequality in people. We'll transfer that to many different ways, including yeah, and that's happening now. Especially with the content that's being made. Um, but to your point, it'll continue. For example, the New Deal in the United States play a big part in creating. Yeah, I agree with you. Um, let's see. People criticize welfare and other programs, but a lot of times they keep part of this from exploding because at least people will have something tangible to fall back on. Yeah, that's a good point. Who is this? Is this Zed? Who is this? Um, yeah, let me post the link. I got content to show, but like, let me post the link. I don't think I'm gonna be as washed as I am last time. Got it. Okay. The So What Feminist. There's the link. Let me go down the banners. There's content I want to show. There's some some content I wanted to show. There's definitely some fashion I wanted to lead into, but we'll get into it. So kind of like I was gonna show the video of it. I might not. I love nature. I love animals, things like that. And I was thinking about it the last month or so of like, we had the Diary of a CEO. He had the episode that went viral about, oh my God, like a significant portion of humanity is not gonna be able to pass on their genes. They're gonna die out. Like, should we do anything about it? And like, it got people in an uproar. And I'm like, I want us to all take a step back and realize that, specifically the manosphere, they love quoting animal statistics. Well, and trying to talk about their nature compared to humans. Well, and if we talk about for baby turtles, they get, their eggs are buried underground and they hatch and they try to surface to find the water. And a high percentage of them are going to get picked off by predators, land, sea, and air predators. And there's no one in the animal kingdom that's going to advocate for that. They all get a chance to live. There's nobody that's going to go out there and try to save them. And same thing for humans. I remember going to the club growing up, and throughout high school, I think sophomore, junior, senior, at least sophomore and junior, and like I was going on a weekly basis, and like there was no one specifically with this red pill. The red pill wants to kind of like stand up for the forgotten man, stand up for the nerds, or nerds complaining about their dating choices or whatever, or just modern men dating about complaining about their dating choices. There was nobody in the club advocating for you to get a number if you didn't get a number. There was nobody in the club advocating for you to get a dance if you couldn't get a dance. If you got rejected in the club from a dance, there was no person, guy or woman, pulling you aside and consoling you or helping you get network in the club or get a dance. It was, like I said, you had to be able to, Wacky World's point, you had to kind of like, you didn't have time to kind of like boo-hoo, and you had to move on. You had to adjust. You had to deal with that rejection. And like I said, like same thing with like the turtles. I recommend y'all going to watch a video. I'll spare y'all that. Just nature is cruel. So like what they're kind of doing in this manosphere is, I think it's arguably against nature. It's against what is supposed to happen in nature. Going back to like the Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO point, like, I'm sorry, not every in no time period did every single man or woman procreate. And these dudes, to shout out to Wacky World, is they need to they need to build a bridge and get over it. It is not your birthright to be able to have children. And honestly, a lot of these men, some of these people, a significant amount of these people don't need to have children, possibly don't need to get married either. We've got to stop trying to weaponize that to to kind of like torture these people or anybody about their life circumstances. Like what they're doing to single moms is torture. What they're doing to in the red pill against modern men is torture too, saying like, oh, projecting these scenarios that the woman doesn't want you if you make six figures. That's not true, but you're spreading disinformation and you're messing with people's mental health. So again, like taking a step back, when you look at all these influencers in the manosphere, they don't give a damn about you. They don't, and they never did in history. So you got to question, why now? Why do they care now? Why are they so adamant now? They don't care. And they're just on a panel in a lot of cases talking about men that they've never met, that they don't care about, that they don't go and talk to. They don't go and befriend. They don't go to help those people in real life. This is all just content that is, now with some of the recent things that have been happening, there might be a lot of dots to connect. From the stuff that's happening politically. Let me see. Let's see what else I want to talk about. I know in the last live, I was kind of bringing up the idea of like Black excellence, and I was kind of explaining about like some of those groups, like the the Boule, the Jack and Jills, the whatevers. You don't hear manosphere thought coming out of that. Those conversations don't happen in those groups. Those conversations don't happen in those families. I think that even people like Anton Daniels, which I'm going to kind of talk about eventually, like the manosphere, the red pill, content creators like Anton Daniels, they're not promoting Black excellence. Anton Daniels is kind of like picking and choosing, but he's more so promoting content that is anti-Black excellence. Let me see what else I want to say about that. But I think what I was saying in the last show was like, and I was thinking about it after the show, was like a good way to snuff out the manosphere is to promote more Black excellence type of thought. And I think the problem is like when we think about Black excellence, we think about bougie, we think about elitist, we think about classist. Sure, there might be people like that amongst those groups. That does not represent the whole group. Black excellence, people can strive for Black excellence at every social economic level. Just like even just if we pivot the conversation, being a gentleman has nothing to do with money. It is simply how you want to show up in the world, treat people. And we can all agree that like the majority of men are not gentlemen. They're not. And that's a choice that they've made or been influenced to make. So like, I think if we promoted some of the, more Black excellence, even within men, if we promoted more getting back to being gentlemen, because there's a lot of elements that I was thinking about recently. The manosphere is a lot. They're anything but gentlemen. I think I have like some talking points a little bit later that will kind of speak about this. I might come back to this topic later, but like, basically what I'm trying to say is like the manosphere and the red pill, specifically the Black parts of they're not promoting Black excellence. They're not promoting people going to college. They're discouraging women from going to college, which is anti-Black excellence. Anything Black excellence would be encouraging a woman to go to school, encouraging a guy to go to school, encouraging your daughter or any woman to be able to marry up. That's not happening in the manosphere. That's anti-Black excellence. Their Black excellence should be promoting strong Black families, not scaring men away from marriage, scaring men through child support courts. So they're pushing a lot of like anti-Black excellence crap in the manosphere. I think the whole red pill and the manosphere, this is a good point. I think the manosphere and the red pill, amongst a lot of other things, the way social media is being handled it is a mental health issue. I don't think it's a reach. A lot of other countries, DKT, and I'm glad you showed up too. It is not. They're addressing it as a social, as a mental health crisis. I think New York filed a lawsuit against one of the social media networks on the basis of it being a mental health crisis. It's not a reach. They're already dropping lawsuits, and like I said, other countries are treating it as such. But like I said, that's my opinion. I think it is. I think one of the difficulties of this is that, as we discussed in a lot of these other lives, it's like it's protected by free speech. The people like Anton Daniels and others, they are abusing free speech to the detriment of other people's mental health. I just think there's a lot of different things to say about it. It's like, I think that we're waiting way too long to be able to take action. And I think that that's a problem of our country. We need to be taking action about social media now. We should have been taking action about it. But yes, I think it's causing a mental health crisis. We talk so much in this space, DKT, about the lonely male crisis. We'd be silly to think that social media doesn't have an effect to that loneliness crisis. How it's changed the dynamics of how people are living, communicating with each other, socializing, how they're being influenced. But like I said, we'll have to bring some research regarding that. But listen, I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate the pushback. Let's see. I'm just gonna pivot. Like, I think for this, I was thinking about, just like make the manosphere in general, the red pill in general, of like how they're so scared about child support. They're so scared about marriage and divorce. And I'm like, if you're really this scared, you don't really have anything to worry about. Cause like the woman is, I can't think of a woman who's going to stick around with you talking the way you do and completely being a Debbie Downer about things. I've had to check myself through different relationships, even the one that I'm currently in, of like, you gotta like watch how you talk or joke, because you do not want to be a wet blanket. But like I said, like, these men who are really, if they're really this afraid in person as they are online about real life, it's just not going to happen for them. And they've got to accept the part that they played in that. And like I said to the banner, like they really don't have anything to worry about. You're wasting time. You're not necessary. You can't turn some of these things on and off like a light. Even if it's mental, settling down or dating for attention, that's not something you can turn off like a light. If you really wanted to be married, you would move in that you'd move in a way that would get you there. Before I get off on this topic, I think one of the reasons why I kind of like thought about this was I thought about someone like Bruiser, who's from the Lapeef network, and like he's a married guy. And like I said on some of these previous lives, they have on these panels, they'll have like these married men who are basically tokens to kind of say, you need to listen to what these men have to say because they've gotten married. And if you as a woman, because they're usually speaking to women, you as a woman, if you want to get married, you need to listen to what I have to say. And it's like, there's a lot to unpack there. It's like, one, just because they're married doesn't mean that's a man that they would want to get married to, or anybody would want to get married to. But I was like, it's such a detriment and a luxury for people like Bruiser to exist, where you are coming on panels and every single time we're talking about marriage, you're shitting on the institution of marriage. And I thought about it and I was like, how crazy does his wife look like if he's acting like that in real life? like you do need to be positive about marriage in general and about your marriage too, because there's gonna be, like I said, there's gonna be shindigs where you have to go to and you have to kind of like put on, you have to kind of, you know, talk about the state of things, where you guys going, how are y'all doing, blah blah blah, and it's like, um, I understand from an angle, these people want to be prepared, they want to understand some risks, okay, but we're not supposed to be consumed with this. Um, like I said, like the banner is saying, it's like these men who are, tell these guys who can tell me 3, 5 different stats about uh, divorces and child support court and alimony, this and that, even just the fake shit. Um, like the 80% of the children born are being born by 20% of the men. If that's what they believe, they don't have anything to worry about in life. And I just think that these are men that need to. They just need to. I wish they would be quieter. I wish we wouldn't hear these voices. I think that's one of the problems with like social media is like we've given voices to people to voices that don't need to be heard. We're in my opinion. Um so let me see. We're gonna go into we're gonna kind of stick on this kind of angle. Um I'm gonna like shift it to this, maybe somewhat similar. Like it's kind of like tying into like the thought about like black excellence. I think that that's really the answer. Is like standards and black excellence, however you want to look at it. Higher standards and black excellence, or just standards period and black excellence, and or black excellence. There's a lot of people, specifically the manosphere and the red pill. They're like, we're gonna hold you accountable. We're gonna hold women accountable. We're gonna hold single moms accountable. That ain't gonna do shit. Because one, your panel, not everybody's looking at your panel. Let's change that. Let's look at it like that way. Nobody, one, the reach of your panel. Two, if you're a cretin like Anton Daniels and maybe you became a hot topic for a couple weeks or whatever, maybe you even went viral. There's still a lot of people. The majority of people probably didn't even know who you exist, didn't hear that, and it's not changing people's lives. It's really just glorified entertainment for degenerate, a lot of times degenerate people, um, and people who are curious about degenerate people. Um, but I'm getting to this point where I'm like, accountability isn't doing anything. Um, you can't hold anybody accountable off of a panel. I think people are dying to like tell people off. So like when the Anton Daniel stuff came out, I think he came on a couple panels. He came on Philosophicals, and people were debating about him. Um, they debated. They asked him questions when he came on. He dodged the questions. He deflected. He darvoed. He came out with, "Hey, I'm the victim here." But you can't really hold anybody accountable on the internet. It's not possible. And I think that's where and how a lot of these social media degenerates are thriving. Anton Daniels could do anything he wants on the internet, and he can still settle. He knows a safe place for him to settle back down into and say, "Hey, but I'm a father, and I'm a Christian, and I'm a successful guy." So what? You're a cretin too. So like the holding accountable, it's a waste of time. The whole like I said, the manosphere, that's one of their tenets is like the accountability. What's lacking in society is accountability. No, what's lacking in society is standards. Um, when you have standards, specifically high standards, you don't have to worry about accountability because it's kind of like automates accountability. People know whether they're reaching the standard or not. Um, people are gonna people are gonna kind of know if you're not meeting the standard or not. But hey, we don't have all the time. We don't have enough time in the day to be holding everybody accountable for every single mistake they make. That's dumb. Um, I do want to talk about Anton Daniels, but I'm gonna take it. Um, I'm gonna wait a little bit for that. Like as a little of a little side, like I think that a lot of these lonely men, I don't think that they've exhausted everything. Um, do they own pets? Probably not. Maybe they need another one, even if they do. But like they need attention. They're dying to lead for leadership, an opportunity for leadership. Well, get a pet. Get you a pet that's hard to train. Get a bull mastiff. Um, get a dire wolf. Get something. Get something. A crocodile. Maybe go into a wildlife field. Um, it's a little bit of like jokey jokes, but I'm just like, I don't think that they've exhausted everything. And I was thinking about that like the last month or so. I was like, wait, like if we just even talk about the passport bros, we talk about the manosphere men, we talk about the modern men who go viral on social media. Um, they have not exhausted everything. They have not. They they love to say like, hey, there's no way, there's no wives to be found. But we know that they in a lot of cases they haven't even tried to look. Um, case in point, the passport bros. Um, they haven't tried to look. They if they're having such terrible experiences within a specific race, have they dated some other races? Have they dated all the races? Have they dated different age groups? Have they exhausted all the different social opportunities that could be had in their city? Are they traveling to other cities for big events? They're not doing any of these things. So like I said, it's created this idea that like if you have any grievance if you have any grievance with anybody, you can just, you know, take it to the moon with it. And it's like, listen, you know, an aside, like it's kind of like no judgment to anyone who does this, but there's people who like when they get bad customer service in public, they're gonna go take it to corporate. And I've always thought that that was kind of high key annoying. Like if there's a Taco Bell near my house. Don't judge me. I like Taco Bell. They'll fuck my order up sometimes, and I have simple tacos. Um, I do edit them. I take things off of them, but they still fuck my tacos up at different times of the day. I don't take it to corporate. Sometimes I order my order, and I'll come back and I get 4 or 5 extra tacos in there, and none of them are correct. Some of them, maybe the extra tacos are correct, and there's a lot of fucked up tacos. But I don't take it to corporate, and I feel like kind of in a way, the manosphere, moving into like a different topic is like, yo, I had to take a step back and I had to say, yo, they're taking grievances like to like the Supreme Court of public opinion. Like it's not enough to just be like, hey, I'm gonna just talk to my friends. Hey, I'm just gonna talk to a therapist. Hey, I'm gonna talk to my family. Hey, I'm gonna talk to myself. Hey, I'm gonna talk to some people on a social group of mine. Nah, I gotta take it to social media. I gotta take to Twitter. I gotta make some content. I gotta take it to a panel. I gotta say that the whole race, a whole gender of a whole race, or the whole gender of a whole country, I got a whole problem with. It's like I said, if we take a step back, like we start to realize this is ridiculous on so many different levels, and it's just noise. It's noise, and they're being rewarded for this noise. They're getting paid. They're getting super chats. They're getting subscribers. They're getting rewarded for this noise. And like I said, like man, like I was thinking about like the last couple of weeks and months or whatever. I was like, I kind of miss it when it's kind of a gift and a curse to have media that where there's no gatekeepers anymore. Like back in the 90s, early 2000s or whatever, maybe, or before, these voices were not heard. And I'm glad that we didn't hear voices like these, but now we have to be burdened with people like Anton Daniels, and other people, and just the other major channels that have now died off. Now they get to kind of like come out in social media and other forms of media and put out, I guess, trash content. But like I said, like I'm I took some thoughts about it, and I was like, man, when we think about these panels and these viral talking points and this urgency for it, it's kind of fucking ridiculous. It's like, is your social life this difficult that you need to take to social media and shame strangers? Is it really that serious? Um, it's not. So let's like move on. Like, I want to like circle some other manosphere stuff. It's like I think the manosphere sought to accomplish a lot of different things. One of which, I know they hate that word, but like I think they normalized being sassy. Um, they normalized men, as the banner says, like they normalized men meddling in women's business. Hair weaving nails. I've never seen a man growing up ever talk about hair weaving nails. Not to the level of the red pill in the manosphere. Like, there's plenty of women that have different style aesthetics. Find one. Um, but like I said, one of the things that we learned throughout this was like there's a huge element of black fatigue in this. That a lot of these people are being very covert about it, but they're they're conservatives and they're not framing the conversation that way to avoid blowback and to um I guess make attacks at a larger group. And I think I had a banner for that. But let's see, hold up. But yeah, like ultimately, like they've they've normalized talking about people's body counts. That's none of your business. They've normalized talking about single mothers. Okay, if you don't want a single mom, don't date one. Um, they've normalized purity culture and what I noticed was like the manosphere, then as I said on like one of the Lapeef experience, episodes was like these are men that the men in the manosphere and the red pill, what have they actually accomplished? And I think every once in a while we need to take a step back, a Steph Curry, James Harden step back and look at it and say, what have these men accomplished? What have these movements accomplished besides panels, besides super chats, besides entertainment from degenerate people? What have they accomplished? Has the lonely male crisis improved even a smidgen, a smithereen? No. So it's um, like I said, the men, the larger point is like the men, as I said on the Lapeef Experience channel, is like they're too focused on what women they think women need to be doing and changing. They need when we have enough work individually and as a block of just cisgendered men, we have enough stuff to work on. And that should be the priority. But like I said, in the last, 2, 3 years that I've kind of noticed, been in this space, kind of like just viewing and observing and or making content, and noticing that this space has been around for a whole lot longer than that. It's probably been around here for like 7, maybe 15, maybe 12 years. Let's maybe cut off at 10. That what has actually been accomplished? Nothing. Men have not accomplished anything from these movements besides giving themselves a space to be able to talk and air their grievances and feelings, mostly grievances. Um, but I don't think that I'm not seeing the progress. Um, let's see. This is another one. I'm trying to think. I might have already talked about this, like the lonely red pillars. Yeah, I think I've already talked about this. Is instead of attacking other people, these people have not really tried that hard to broaden their social circle, broaden their social footprint, expand their friend network, go to therapy, um, date. If you, as I was saying before, like if you feel like you need to take your grievances to the Supreme Court of Public Opinion, maybe you need to date out of the race. Maybe that's what you need to do. Because like these are the same people that like once they take their opinion to the Supreme Court of Public Opinion, they're just like, you're telling me I need to settle? Buddy, if you took it to this level, I think you do. It needs to be on the table. You need to strongly consider settling it, or maybe date, like I said, dating out if you feel this strong. Um, there's a lot of men who are living very healthy, social lives within the Black community, and they're not that disgruntled. Let's see. Let me check this comment. That's a good point. It's good. I appreciate you, DKT, for even bringing this up. Like, to your point, I don't think they bring it up very much. It gets. I think what happens, DKT, is it gets interwoven with other things. So like the whole, I think, and ChatGPT was telling me it was like the discourse industrial complex. Like, um, it gets interwoven in the let me think of how I say this. When they speak about how there was a man in your 20s that would have married you and you overlooked him. There's like so many good that women need to choose better. And with what I was talking about earlier, the Stephen Bartlett, when he had the internet segment about how the incels are, they're not gonna be able to pass on their genes and they're gonna die off. Um, it gets brought up. It didn't always get, directly mentioned, but I think that the basis of a lot of their conversations are it's related to the male loneliness crisis. They're trying to the Scott Galloway's completely focus on the male loneliness crisis. But like, to your point, do they recognize it as an issue? Yes, they do. And like most people, they're blaming it on the women, um, saying that the women's standards are too high. They're saying that they don't want they don't want good men. They just want we beat it like a dead horse, but they apparently they only want the Chads and stuff like that. So like I said, they address it, but they're speaking on, but they'll speak on it from the standpoint of, well, there's a third of men who never have children. Sir, can you break down that third to me? Are some of those third not cisgender? They don't like women? Are some of these third men who just don't want to have children? Are some of these men in jail already? um, um, the problem is like these, to your point, they're using, I mean, to my point, it's like they're using the male loneliness issue as a way to kind of browbeat women. And a lot of this is I'm trying to connect different dots. It's very convenient that the Heritage Foundation is now, some of their talking points are kind of, well, echoing a little manosphericness. But to your comment, they do, like, I listened to the Lapeef a little bit, and a lot of it is just like, just the passport bros. We are done with the Western women. We're going abroad. We're tired of them. We're lonely because these women are not worth dating. And it's everything but the truth. Let me go to the next ones. See, Andrew Tate, he's winning the hearts and minds of young men everywhere. Yeah, you're right. Guess. As I've been saying, it's a good point. Another, I think y'all coming with fire, tweets on this live. The issue is I've addressed it. You can't combat these guys. And I love this post from Nomadic that I haven't seen him in a minute, but it's a good post. I'm going to get to it in a second. You can't stop the manosphere. You can't. The market, as I was saying on the last live, the marketplace of ideas is corrupt because they try to frame it as, hey, even Elon Musk said, hey, we shouldn't. I forget how he said it. I'm going to try to paraphrase, but he was saying something like, we shouldn't ban hate speech or negative speech. We should combat it with more speech. And it's like, no, you can't really do that, because when you got people like a Charlie Kirk, there's nothing you can do to dampen his influence. He's got Israel and AIPAC up his ass. He's got he had a lot of Republican people, forcing him to say certain shit. So it's like, the problem is in this marketplace of ideas, a lot of these people are coming up here huffing and puffing, trying to like get, air their grievances or get their opinions off, like it's it's a damn rap cipher. And it's like you're kind of questioning, like, yo, why are these dudes so passionate about this shit? Meanwhile, these dudes have like donors, like we were talking about in the previous podcast, donors foreign and domestic, or they have a political influence that we may not understand, or some other type of influence that we might not understand. So it's like we can't do shit. It's like, we kind of saw some of the stuff that recently happened, DKT, with, we talked about with the young Republicans and how JD Vance came promptly to the TV to come on and say, hey, there was nothing wrong with these guys. They're just young kids being young kids. So as I addressed on the previous live, like, I can't do shit to dampen someone like Andrew Tate when Andrew Tate probably has Trump on speed dial. He probably has people in some high places. We don't know the traceability of why did Andrew Tate become a thing? Was it really grassroots, or did he have other people helping him and pushing him to make the content that he made? But like I was saying on the previous slide, there's nothing we can do to stop these guys. Not on social media, because the algorithms are not tuned to de-incentivize this type of content, to shadow ban this content when it needs to be shadow banned, to block this type of content and prevent this content from being made when it needs to be stopped. AKA, going back to your point about is this really a mental health crisis? I think, to go back to your point, DKT, the sad part about this is we're only considering this as a crisis for children, when we need to be considering the impact that it's having on adults. And I don't think that we're doing enough for either cohort. Yeah, there is no counterbalance. We have pub offender, we have me, we have Conscious Lee, we have Therese H. Lee, we have a lot of people. But I love what Therese H. Lee is doing. Y'all need to watch her videos of late. We got Themis and Thoth. We had I forget his name. It might come back to me, but whatever, I'll move on. But yeah, we have people, but I don't think we have nearly the money to put into that's being put into this. We don't, but I think the way to really there's maybe ways to dampen it, but I think it's gonna have to be people pushing for policy changes, and that's gonna be tough, and just also us forming different groups offline that will that de-incentivize this type of content. Like I said, like on the last live, DKT, when you think about some of those Black excellence groups, these conversations don't get had. The woman who I'm dating, who's probably coming, she might be on this podcast. She doesn't know. I don't think she knows who Anton Daniels is. I had to kind of like educate her a little bit. I don't think she knows who Kevin Samuels was. There's some people who don't. I love the fact that there are people who don't. I'm glad that they get to have that reality. But no, we don't, and it's because these algorithms are. I think we all know it. It's like they incentivize. I forget how they say it. How ChatGPT said it. It's like the algorithm. They are gaming the algorithm, and the sensationalized, I guess, anger-inducing content. That is what is ruling the algorithm. The positive stuff doesn't sell, unfortunately. DKT. Let's see. This guy got away respected. Oh, he's beloved. Actually, I'll maybe reconsider that. Like, I think he is. I think it just depends. I think I'll say it depends, because like he's very popular with. It's a good question, DKT. Like, I'm gonna say like a no and a yes. Like, I think he's popular with. I don't. Let me say it like this. I don't think Scott Galloway gives a fuck about having fans from the Lapeef network. He wants to sell books. He wants to be a social media influencer in this space. So, and to do so, I think he has garnered some manosphere following. I think he has gathered some of that, and he, like I said, he's got he's been on the Chris Williamson show probably multiple times. He's been on the Steve Bartlett show, the Diary CEO, multiple times. He's able to, he's got enough money to be able to make a media blitz. So like I don't think he's beloved like Jordan Peterson, but I think that, how do I want to say that? I don't want to say this. I'm gonna read their whole thing and I'm gonna think about it. Scott G talked about the mail. No. It's a good point for to end your comment. Like he doesn't have Tate level influence, and I think like it's a good comment / statement, because like there's different people playing different roles. Like you have Jordan Peterson, you have Sadia Khan, the con artist. You have Andrew Tate. You have Sneaker. I think one of the things that recently happened between List Live and the last one was we had the Red Pill Avengers go to Miami and get banned by playing the controversial HH song from Kanye West. And I think Sneeko took all the heat. So like, is Scott Galloway hanging with them? No, and I don't think he wants to. I think he's trying to play a different role. There are people, like I said, there's people in this manosphere type of space that are manosphere that are playing different roles. There's people like the Jordan Peterson who are playing a specific role. There's people like Andrew Tate who are playing the more braggadocious persona. There are people like Scott Galloway. There's people who are trying to play these academic roles that are still within the manosphere space, that might try to appear of more of a manosphere adjacent, like a Chris Williamson. Chris Williamson is a manosphere podcaster, in my opinion. Auburn Preach, in my opinion, are kind of manosphere adjacent. I don't think Jordan Peterson admits to being manosphere, but he is a manosphere type of person to me. So I think, to answer your question, like the first part of it, is Scott Galloway even respecting spaces? I think to a portion of a certain part of certain cohorts within the manosphere space, I think so. But I think he has, like I said, I think he has a different angle. I think there's a lot of people who are trying to monetize off of, who want to be thought leaders in this space, selling books, doing speaking engagements. But he plays it, to land on it again, is like he plays a different role than Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is, doing, he's doing different things, but no, he does not have the Tate level influence. So yeah, Galloway is another Jordan Peterson. Good to see you, Nomadic. Yes, he's kind of like a Jordan Peterson, a Chris Williamson, a person who's going to try to masquerade as an ally. It's kind of like a Steve Bartlett from the Diary CEO. He's going to try to masquerade as an ally, but he's really got that alt-right, crumbled up within the oatmeal. Let's see. Tate is a young, cool. I mean, he got his ass whooped in that recent boxing match. I don't know if he's young. Yeah, he's younger than a boomer. Sure, you're right on that. Let's see. In the past, if a media figure said something you don't like, you just boycott their advertising and force them to caveat. Okay, but then, yeah, you're right. You're right, DKT. Like, you're right, because you're right. I can't say anything wrong about it. It's like you're right. Like, we haven't figured out a way. We don't have we don't really have effective ways to stop this. One, chief among them is the country, the White House, the president, and JD Vance. They don't give a shit about. They don't see this as a threat. They actually, leverage these podcasts, these influencers. There have been some pushback. Some of these people have been deplatformed when they do egregious things. When they talk to a Nick Fuentes, when they talk to someone like him, and talk about the topics, some of the edgy topics that he likes to talk about. But the problem is that, like, some of these people are they're able to fly under the radar, kind of like a Anton Daniels. Anton Daniels has been, quiet as it's kept, and I hate to do this, but I'm gonna give them credit. Ronan and Fearless did some nice coverage of Anton Daniels and highlighting how this dude, he went on Corey Daniels' show. He puffed his chest out like a puffer fish, a fat one, and he threatened physical violence. And then he went on a media blitz tour, going on other podcasts, having the other people that, even if he didn't go on your show, you were talking about him because of all the ruckus he did. And then Corey Holcomb comes out and he talks about his daughter and his wife briefly at that. And he comes out and he's crying like he's a wounded dog because I got to pull my daughter out of schools. I'm trying to remember where I was going with this shit. Where I was going with this shit was some of these guys are able to, what Ronan and Fearless brought to the light was like, Anton Daniels came up here and cried about his daughter being talked about. But he's talked about other women, other people's kids. Said he had one of his famous quotes was, "Man, fuck the kids," meaning the black kids in the community, because he's got a lot of black fatigue. He's talked about people's wives. He said that some people's kids don't deserve to live. But that not everybody saw that content. I was one of those people. I did not see that content until I saw the Ronan and Fearless highlighted. And so some of these people have some really heinous content, and they've been flying under the radar where it should have been. One dating is here. It should have been shut down then, but they've kind of pivoted. We know another one, Austin Hallman. They've kind of pivoted their content a little bit, added a little bit of a wrinkle, but they should also be held accountable for some of the legacy stuff that they've said. So like I've said, like, you're right. It doesn't work on podcasts, or it should. And when people are anti-cancel culture, you're helping people like Anton Daniels. You're helping people like Austin Hallman. You're helping people like Jay Rello, some of these other degenerates. But like, yeah, that's where what we need to take it. That's the level we need to take it to, DKT. Is like, they need to be able to get canceled. Pearly Things got demonetized. I can't tell. Fresh and Fit got demonetized. I can't tell. But because they rebranded, and for whatever reason, they're able to leverage some of these these major platforms, leverage other podcasts, and still make viral content. So let me go. Dr. Peterson is very sort of, yeah, sure. He's a psychologist. He does not claim. Yes, he does not claim. Like, you're right. He does not claim to be manosphere. That doesn't matter though. A lot of the content a lot of the things that statements that he made, even the content I think he made, his base is as a betting man, someone who used to bet, someone who used to possibly be a degenerate gambler in the past. I would bet money that Jordan Peterson, if he looks at his analytics over the years, he knows, he's very aware that a large part of his base are incels, are of that demographic, that cohort, and he would speak to that. He had some of these famous quotes about the what was it? The enforced monogamy. Who was that going towards? It was going towards incels and the quote unquote lonely men. A lot of his, from my vantage point, A lot of his content was to address the lonely male crisis. Incels are a big piece of that. The manosphere is a big piece of that, or the red pill is a big piece of that. Let's go to this. Anton Daniels asked Corey to step aside. Step outside. Yeah, he asked him to step outside. He would not. He asked him to step outside with his security. Meaning it's just a tough talk. He wasn't gonna do shit. Let's see. Later on, Corey was seen on. Yeah, so let's address that. That's a good little segue. I'm okay. Fair enough. I think actually, Anton Daniels lost. I think it was actually both losers. They were both losers actually, but I would have to say I think Anton Daniels was the bigger loser. And my first take of it was like, man, I wish they would have both taken each other out. I think that's a little harsh to say, but like, I think they were both losers. They're both degenerates. They're both lowlives. And like I said, I lost a lot of respect for Anton Daniels in the sense that you're going to puff up against someone else, but you got security. You're going to puff up against someone else and try to incite violence, but you got security. You're going to try to incite violence, but you're going to sue if someone says the wrong thing to you. I'm sorry, I lost a lot of respect, and I didn't even respect them to begin with. But yeah, I mean that's fine. You can see Anton as the winner. I think if Anton won anything, it's that as a result of that Corey Daniels TMZ video, and maybe I think even recently the PDF file allegations against Corey Holcomb. I think that he was saying he made some type of joke about underage women that might have contributed to him losing some of his gigs. That and the assault video. Yeah, if you take that angle, yeah, I think Corey Holcomb might have lost. But I'm saying if we're just saying head to head, Daniels, Anton, and Corey Holcomb, I think, in my opinion, I think Corey won that. But I think if you're bringing everything into play, Anton Daniels probably didn't lose anything in terms of his the content he's putting out, the ability for him to monetize and stuff like that. He was barely held accountable. But to that point, if we're talking about who's actually taking the bigger losses, Corey Holcomb's career has actually been affected. So yes, he's the bigger loser in that respect. But I'm saying man to man, I lost more respect for Anton Daniels because I saw him in real time bitch up, flip flop and bitch up. So why are you person? What the market's for? I'm saying like I think some of this censorship is needed because we have people like the red pill and the manosphere who are abusing it. I'm saying that like we got to figure out a solution for it, whether we're pushing it to a specific place that you have to go see it. Give the user the ability to I guess filter that content out. They don't without even knowing the content creator, just like, yo, Aiden Ross, I don't watch this stuff. I want that filtered out of my algorithm. I don't want it to even be suggested. So it's like I feel like we need to give the user more of an ability to be able to filter their algorithm. And I get it. Like the famous one is like, yo, the algorithm is only going to feed you what you want to watch. People have done some studies on that. It's not too hard to get sucked up into these pipelines of negativity. So it's like, I'm like I said, good question, DKT. I'm just saying like, I'm scrambling for we need some solutions. And the solution is not, hey, someone needs to get on social media and just out yell Andrew Tate. All right, we got are you coming on?
I'm just here.
Okay, you're just listening?
What do you want me to do?
I was trying to see if you want to join.
Sure.
All right.
I'm here with you.
Good.
I'm here to support.
All right. We got Keeping Africa Passport Bro free exclusive. We got the woman I'm dating right now, my girlfriend on this now. So you want to say hi?
Hello.
Okay. So let's pivot. What are some popular things you want to talk about? Anything you want to talk about? I have banners. We can we could address.
What are you already talking about?
We were talking about things I'm not sure that you know.
Mhm.
We were talking about Corey Holcomb, Anton Daniels. I might have showed you a video about that.
Can I eat? Can they hear me?
Yeah, that's fine. They can.
Oh.
That right there. If you see the thing move, that's
That's the talking.
Yeah, that's talking.
Hello, everyone.
So, what was I gonna say? We talked about the Corey Holcomb, Anton Daniels. We've talked a lot about like just the negativity in the manosphere. And
have you talked about me wanting a baby?
No, we have not.
We
have not.
Have we talked about you wanting a baby, possibly with me?
Okay, wow, you're gonna use some self-serving information. We can pivot to that. I don't think I have a banner for that. This is very on brand for the Heritage Foundation. They want to restore the family. So
and you don't?
I do. And I want people to have the ability to choose if having children is right for them. We're gonna get back to you, but I was trying to pivot today to us. But the Heritage Foundation, they want to restore the birth rate. So they want more people having children.
What are you doing right now? What are you picking at my face for? What did you see that was annoying you?
I just don't worry about it. But yeah, so like I said, like the going back to your conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for putting me on the spot of my own podcast.
Of course, because I'm going to be me the whole time, and I told you that.
Appreciate it. So yeah, I think that as we've kind of talked about it, that's something I want to do.
Yeah. That's
something I give a lot of thought to.
Mm-hmm.
I said it to you in person. I'm gonna say it on the podcast too. I think that having, I can see, first and foremost, actually, I'll lead with the positive, the good things first. I'll say this. I know that having a child with you it'll be a very fun experience. I see a lot of fun in doing that. Mm-hmm. I see it, because of the bond that I have with you. It's a lot of fun. I think, the people who are who are listening to the podcast, live or replay, they don't get to see like how much fun we're having, how silly things are and or whatnot. But so I go back.
It's just not silly. Come on now.
There's nothing wrong with silly.
But I know there's nothing wrong with silly, but it's just not silly because we do have hard conversations.
Correct.
They do not hear on this podcast that he has yet to share.
That's correct. I keep some.
Let's keep it all the way real because this is who he's dating.
Correct. I keep some
that's
stuff.
Why you love me.
Yeah, I do. I keep things close to the vest.
Yeah.
Some things. So what I'm trying to say is, let's get back to the conversation about children. So like,
yeah,
as I've told probably both therapists, like I see
both therapists.
Yeah, the last conversation I had with one of my therapists, I think it might have been like a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. She was like, I said, I could not see myself living with someone and being happier. I couldn't see myself happier with anybody else.
Besides me.
Correct.
Give me a kiss.
Facts.
Right.
What is this podcast?
That's who you are.
But I can see myself being happy without children with you, with children with you. Mm-hmm. Having children is there's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
In making that step.
Mm-hmm.
As I was telling, I might have said to you, I might have said to a therapist, I might have said like, hey, you don't get to 43 years old, no kids, without a lot of different things, including.
Yeah, you did tell it to me. You did.
Including
after the joke during sex.
Including which we will not talk. You don't get to 43 years old without a lot of things, including sexual discipline and I guess the fear the fear. And that's a big, I think that's a big element. It's like, I want to make sure I do that with the right person. I want to make sure that I'm doing that at the right time. And getting back to the answering the question in general, that's something I want to, I know I'd be happy doing with you. That would be exciting to do. Like, I could see that life, even though there's a lot of, where will life take me? There's a lot of fear that is unforeseen, that I can't see, that I might be tweaking out before it even happens. I know that in you, I have a partner that is going to help anchor that, the confidence in that. And I have a teammate. It's not all on me.
Of course.
So like I said, I would love to do that. I think that would be a great idea. That's something I think about a lot. That's something that I would, that I think about, and talk with you about, working on this year.
Yeah.
How was that answer?
We've already talked about it. Like, yeah, like it's not even how is that answer. It is, where are you with those feelings? Where are you with wanting to move forward? And I appreciate you being vulnerable and open about that. And I already had a feeling because we talk about those things anyways on a weekly, daily.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna flip it to you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
You know what I say. I want us to be happy. I want us to be secure in whatever we decide to do together.
Mm-hmm.
But where I am is because the kind of love that we share and what we mean to each other and what we've come to agree with what we want for the future, like, why not bring us into the world and give it a shot? We both had our opportunities where we could have, and it didn't happen. And we've done the tests. We spent the time.
Right.
We've had the conversations.
Right.
And if we're able to do it and we love, respect, and care about each other, why not give it a shot?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, like I said, I see a lot of joy in that decision. If we went down that path, I see, as I was telling my therapist, I was like, I know that life, like I said, I'll repeat myself, life would be very fun. Life, I see us working very well together.
Yeah.
I see that. I feel very confident in that.
And I'm so happy with how it's led up to this. The circumstances of how we met and how we got to know each other. And yeah, for real. That's real. That's real. And one day you guys will know about this. And what? You're not going to tell them? You're not going to tell them the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Oh, as I would say, sometimes, sometimes you don't want to let the facts get in the way of a good story. Sometimes you just,
But he met me at a time where the sparkle in my eye was really not there. And I came from a 2-parent household where they worked together, they loved each other. And my mother she came up in a different era. So everything that she believes in, what she knows is true, and what her upbringing, motto, core of life is with this significant other, it might not reflect everything that I view as right. But my parents gave me the best childhood. I cannot complain. And what I want is an us.
Right.
And I want to do it better. Right. And I want it to be the version of, and I want us to do it like we want to do it.
Right.
I don't know any other way how to explain it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that, I love that. And like I said, like I think it's like I said, it's something I definitely think of often. It's just like, there's just a lot to think about. The economy sucks, but like I said, like beyond the fact that the economy sucks,
it sucked in the 80s.
Yeah,
You got to think about the Reagan eras. Our parents were in the Reagan era. It's like, what do we know about that? How bad was it compared to now? Reaganomics compared to Trumponomics.
I don't know.
What's the difference? That's a whole nother podcast.
That's facts. But yeah, okay. I mean, I love one of the things I love about you though is you, and I was telling my therapist too, is like you are very strong in your faith. Like you look at.
I went to a Christian school and grew up in the church.
I did too, but
you're a heathen. You're a man. You're a black man. You're a black Morehouse man. You're a heathen.
I wouldn't use heathen necessarily. Maybe not. But I would say, what I would say is like we are on different sides of faith. Is your strong suit? It's not mine. Mm-hmm. In certain aspects of things, like if we're like, I don't know if I said on this podcast. I might have said in real life. It's like,
so you got a God complex.
I don't even know what that means, but but all I'm gonna say is this. I'm gonna say, getting married, that wasn't scary to me. Having a child, being responsible for raising someone else's life, that sounds scary.
Well, what about me? What if I turn into a child immediately and I lose my mind and I'm a whole adult and I revert to being childlike because I have early onset Alzheimer's? And you got to take care of me just like a baby.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Like you have to want, you have to desire, you have to, it's got to be in you.
That's a good point. But yeah, like I said, like I love that you have that quality about you. Because like I said, I could be a little tweaky. Like I said, like
I'm tweaky.
There's specifically on the having a child front like that to me, that's huge.
I know, but everybody's done it.
That's fact.
Everybody's done it. It's been done.
That's true.
And when have we not been okay in this past year and 2 months? When have we not been okay? When have we had to like, oh my God? What was our biggest argument?
I gotta think about it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
this has been really fun.
It's
really been fun. You've brought me joy, and I think I've done the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun because it's just been really raw and transparent, and we've had all. I'm gonna say we have all the tough conversations, but it's not hard for me to bring the raw to you because of my profession and what I do. It just feels natural for me to just be like, we got to put this on Front Street because if we don't, like, it's going to be ugly tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, next year. Like, it's not going to look good, and it's not going to do us any service.
Right, and like I think pivoting to that or piggybacking off of that, like I think one of the things that's been really great is that the level that which you understand me. I think there's been people that kind of understand me well in the past, but I think I'm trying to remember, what about it was. I think the thing that was so special was one. I think there was that element of, like I was saying it before, I actually see a future where, child or childless, I see a very fun life. I see a very happy life. I couldn't see myself happier. I see myself being very happy. But I think going back to the original point, actually we got a comment. Let me pull that up. Okay, someone's saying onset Alzheimer's, is that a joke? I think what she's trying to do, I'll get back to what I was saying in a second. I think what she was trying to do is say life can take that, you can explain it too if you want to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were saying that like life can take different zigs and zags, and it's unpredictable. And so the scariness of life, we can't stop that from happening. It's going to happen if it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I was trying to get back to is like, I see myself being very happy with you. I forget what we were talking about though.
Mm-hmm.
I love
that you forget it, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're around me. Lose yourself.
Sometimes it could also be the podcast. Sometimes you get brain fog.
No, it's me.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, that's going to be something that I think where I was going with it was, I appreciate that you've really learned a lot about me and understand like, hey, for certain conversations, you're checking in with me on certain topics, certain conversations, things like that. Some of these conversations, I'm not going to necessarily really love to bring them up, talk about them. Sometimes they're conversations that if left to my own devices, I want to kind of just like think about.
Put in the back burner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about a little bit about baby. We talked about, the fear of, some of the things that are on my mind that have been on my mind about like, hey, it's a very big decision. There's a lot of, you have to face your fears to do that. And you're not facing your fears alone in doing that. So we've talked about baby. Let's do a pivot. Let's talk about what else you want to talk about. I know. Let's address this. Right. I do want to know. Let's see. What do I want to say? I remember that picture I was showing you. It was kind of like a little negative of. I found it from a YouTube channel, and it had like 4 different women.
Oh yeah, the one with the tattoos, the one with the 2 babies, the one with the cat.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that picture.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find that picture because I want to show that picture online.
Yeah, we got deep into that.
I want to talk about that.
Because you were saying it was one thing, and I was saying it was another.
Yeah, give me a second. Let me find that picture.
I can't believe you're about to throw me these chips.
Yeah, like
they're delicious. You want to bite?
No, I think I'm good. I kind of want to go to the gym. I picked up today. Give me a second. Add to album. Okay, I think I might have saved some other ones. Maybe not. But let me try to see if I can share a picture real quick. I want to see if it shows up. And if y'all listen in the chat, feel free to ask questions or if you want us to talk about certain things. Let's see. Hold up. Incel culture. Has it showed up yet? I don't think it showed up yet.
Is this a Patreon?
That's the avatar of the channel. So it's like Keeping Africa Passport Pro Free is the channel. And that's like a little tiny picture of like different Passport Bro influencers that were like, they're like middle-aged men that were like posting in their picture, doing a video actually of their passport saying, "Hey, nana boo boo, I'm leaving the country to go to Thailand to go have sex with some prostitutes, and I don't need the women from the West." So that's what they were doing. So let me open up my pictures real quick. Hold up. This is what I was showing last time. Incel culture. Okay. So let me share my picture. screen. I'll do entire screen. Actually, I'll do this. Yeah, what else? Let's go to the pictures. So we were talking about this picture, and I had some other versions of this because I was on Illosophical's channel, who he's kind of like a manosphere influencer, and he posted this, and I was amongst a lot of other people. I was kind of shocked, and I was like, wow, like it gets me when like men bring up, specifically black men they try to bring up, this kind of a meme in different ways, and they try to say like, man, it's so hard to date, and they're like 30-year-old or 40-year-old men, and I was just like, wow, I it always tickles me when like middle-aged men bring up pictures like this, and I'm like, it is nowhere near this hard to date as a guy. The pool of eligible women to date, it's nowhere like this. But this is amongst a lot of other kind of content. This is the kind of content that is spread in the space that I try to speak up against. So like I think I remember showing you this, like maybe it might have been like 3 or 4 days ago, maybe last weekend or something like that. And we were talking about this. And I was kind of showing you, because I don't think your feed, thank God, it doesn't have content like this. I love that for you. But what brought me to this channel was I started noticing things on TikTok, things on like YouTube or whatever, like this, where they're trying to like claim that this is all there is to date. So like, what were your thoughts about this?
It just seemed backwards.
Okay.
I'm looking at this woman with the 2 kids. Love my kids like they're yours. How do we know how she got the kids? I don't need a man. The lady with the diploma. Is this high school? Is this college? Because if it's high school, it's like, yeah, maybe you don't. Maybe you, I don't know. Third woman, tattoos. And from my perspective of meeting women that are tatted like this, they're artists, they're creatives, they're usually shy, and they're sensitive about their shit, like Erica used to say. But yeah, we're all a good men. That just didn't seem like it made sense to me either. Like it was just like, who came up with this lineup of black women? And the 4th black woman, it looks like grandma with her cat. Maybe she's sitting watching the stories or something, and I'm ready for love. What? Like, it just doesn't seem like a proper depiction of what the average single black woman would look like. Like, who came up with this lineup?
All right.
And how they're depicting what a black woman in the dating market looks like in 2026. Like, ask a black woman, like, what she has going on. Talk to black women, because this right here, in my my friends, family, timeline, yeah, this ain't it. This ain't that. And this looks like some real AI bullshit. It looks like propaganda on
Facts.
the highest.
Facts. So I think, and we were kind of talking about this a little earlier on the stream, is like, I think that in a way to kind of lick their wounds, the manosphere men, the red pill men, the misogynistic dudes, they like to make propaganda like this to try to like make it seem like, to kind of cushion, in my opinion, kind of cushion the blow of like, well, you didn't lose. Well, if you're not married or if you are not successful in dating, it's okay because the women aren't really that good anyway, or they're lesser tiered options, or there's something wrong with them, or you don't need to feel the pressure of getting to a certain age and not being in a certain place in your life, because there's barely any women that are worth, dating or marrying or having kids with. And so, going to the first woman, one of the things that they push really hard with is they say, don't raise another man's child. that's what they're trying to get with this picture, with that first woman, is like, they're like, a lot of these women out here after 30, as a man, when you're dating the women that you run into, they have kids, which is normal. Like, a lot of people are probably having.
Black culture, that's not even normal, to like not acknowledge your brother, your sister, or the kids up the street, or your nieces and nephews. Like, that's not normal in just Black culture, period. So that's why I say, who's pushing this agenda, and who's really listening and paying attention to it, and why are they feeding into it? Because that's not even normal with Black culture, period.
So I want you to go a little bit further on that. Like, what do you mean, like, it's not normal?
For how you said somebody would just not accept somebody else's kids. Like, in Black culture, it's like, it's about community. And it's like, the kids up the street, the lady that's single, that's a single mother, a grandma that might be taking care of somebody's kids, where somebody might be locked up, their mother might be on drugs, like, and they're staying with the grandma and the auntie. Like, it's the community that looks out. It's not only the grandma, but it's like that's what we do. Like, it just seems like this is really push propaganda.
Facts.
From my perspective, because my timeline looks, it's insane how my timeline never shows anything like this.
What is on your timeline?
Puppies, music, health stuff, herbs, clean vaginas, okay. Makeup. Yeah. Okay. Like, and I guess this don't make no sense. This is so ridiculous. I can't believe a Black person compiled this. You can't tell me a Black person made this.
It's worth questioning.
Yeah, because very worth questioning.
That's one of the problems with, like, the social media. There's a lot of anonymity. Someone who's non-Black could have made this up. And what we've seen is, since Twitter started posting locations of where people, the origin of their account, we've seen a lot of this propaganda, or these harsh opinions about Black people or Black women. Mm-hmm. It's coming from people who don't even live in the United States. Right. It's coming from, like, India. It's coming from, like, Dubai. It's coming from other places. And
that's what it's giving me. It's giving me, like, who the hell came up with this shit?
That's
what it's giving me, for real.
I also, like, I used to tell the story, like, my ex-wife, her mother was a teenage mom. Her dad had kind of like her birth dad had a tragic accident, a motorcycle accident, where he became, like, brain dead. Mm-hmm. Her mom married a guy from the Army, and throughout her life, she kind of considered her stepdad to be her dad, because that was the man who was, like, predominantly in her life. So it's like, I think there's might be different reasons why men might push this idea of, like, hey, maybe you don't want to date a woman with kids if you don't have kids, because maybe it might be a bigger responsibility than you can handle. Or maybe we all know maybe a situation where a guy married a woman who has 4, 5, or more kids, or whatever.
So and that's the chance. That's the thing where the men keep leaving women. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with the woman. It's the man leaving the woman. So what man is going to stay?
Yeah.
And step up?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
it has nothing to do with the woman.
I feel like they're going completely over the edge with this, and saying, they're not even saying don't date the woman who's got 4 kids and you have no kids. They're saying, regardless of whether you have kids, don't date a woman with kids, because then you're going to have to raise someone. You're going to have to raise a kid or kids that someone else walked out on or didn't want to take care of. And now you're what's the point of you taking care of a kid that isn't biologically yours? That's their mindset that they're coming with this as. And it's like, it really hurts the kids. It hurts the mother and it hurts the kids.
But it hurts Black culture too.
Yes.
It's like how we look at ourselves and how we value ourselves.
Correct.
And how men decide to value a woman with a child. So we're all responsible for that. And we have to step up.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's move to the second one. So, like, I think you had I never thought about it, because, like I said, like, I'm a content creator and in this space where it said like I don't need a man, and she's got this the tassel and the graduation cap. You initially looked at this and you said, hey, is this woman, where did she graduate from? Is it high school? Is it is it college?
Because you have to think about what most Black people celebrate. Black people go hard when people graduate from high school.
That's true.
And college.
That's true.
But a lot of us end up going to high school graduations because we're just excited. Hey, you got that far. And we're going to celebrate that to the max. So this second picture could be a Black woman graduating from high school because sometimes that's just how far we get.
Right.
And how am I supposed to? No, like I'm not going to assume these are just, there's nothing under these women saying what age they are or where they come from, demographics, all that stuff.
I think we're supposed to assume, to your point, because like,
not.
Yeah, you're right.
And I won't.
Yeah, you're right. I was going to say, with my opinion was, with the exception of the last one, I think these women are supposed to be close to 30 or more. But to your point, that's a good observation. Like that second,
does it look like to me? It just looked like some AI bullshit.
Yeah, it's absolutely AI done. That's a fact, 100%. But like being in this space, I know the second one. They usually speak about this from the standpoint of this is a woman with an advanced degree, a bachelor's, a law degree. She passed the bar. She went to med school. She passed the bars. She has a PhD.
How am I supposed to know all that?
Correct. That's a fact. But the only way you really know,
like that, she doesn't give me that. She's not giving me that at all.
The only way you would know is if you circle these spaces, because you'll hear these talking points. You'll hear.
And I don't hear that in my algorithm.
I love that for you.
I have So I'm looking at her like, and this is a Black woman. Black don't crack. She looks young to me. She looks
does
like
look. Now that you said that, when you said that,
high school, college, graduate program. I don't know. Community college. Who knows? But it's just like I don't need a man. Okay, maybe right now you don't, and that's okay. But why are we doing all this? Like
they want to divide Black men and Black women. That's the main objective. But a lot of times when they speak into this talking point, they're speaking from a standpoint of a boss babe, a woman who's got a career. She could be an entrepreneur. She could be a.
We don't know that. She just got a diploma in her
That's
hand.
a fact. That's a fact. So I'll concede to that.
We don't know that.
I'll concede to that. Moving to the third woman. This is a woman that they're trying to say that this is like the party girl. This is the woman, or they say, hey, a woman who's got tattoos, she's just not the woman. She's not the woman for you. You shouldn't marry her.
It just looks off.
Yeah.
This just looks, and that's why I was like, this is some AI bullshit, because a woman with all those tats would be shy. She wouldn't even be like, we're all the good men. Like, no, she's an artist. Like, it's giving artistic. It's giving, and people who know artists, they are a little bit standoffish. They're weird. I'm an artist. I'm a little weird. And it's, no. The sign don't even go with the woman. And any Black woman that knows Black women, you're just gonna look at this and be like, what the fuck? Who put that sign with this woman with all these tattoos on her body? And if you know a woman that's like that and that look like that, she wouldn't even hold no sign like that. I think it's off. Like the whole thing about this meme, and that all these women, and especially the third one, it is off.
I think what they're intending to try to do is they're intending to. She's probably supposed to be sexy red, be like, I want a clean cut, nice guy, but I'm this.
That is not sexy red. That's Michelle and Dave.
Facts.
However the fuck you say her name, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just like, well, and we all know a woman like that. Or we are that woman, or that's our auntie or our mama. But shit, this ain't that. Right. This is so made up, and it's just so off brand. It's just. I'm so happy they missed the mark. Right. Like somebody who made this up, you tried it. You really, really tried it. And luckily, the ones who know, and it's just like, this is really you trying to sell something and trying to, like you said, keep us separated, keep us fighting, keep us divided. And this ain't that at all.
Okay. Moving to the fourth one. In the manosphere and the red pill, regardless of age, I mean, regardless of race, specifically, but we focus on the Black part of it. There's this huge emphasis on ageism that they say a woman is she's hit the wall when she hits like 30 or 35. Like she's diminishing goods. She's,
And what's ran through?
Ran through men is, they say if a woman who's had sex with more than like 5 or 6 men, she's a whore.
Experienced or know what turns her on, or do they even care about what turns her on?
They don't.
So I can't even talk. I can't. How can I even dive into that when there's men who don't even care about that kind of shit? Like, how can we even have a real conversation?
Right.
So next, like you don't even care how a woman feels or how a woman gets off.
They don't.
What are we talking about?
They don't. So it's like they, in the manosphere and the red pill, they're pushing men to run their body count up as high as possible. Some of them, it's Fresh and Fit, as a major content creator, they said you need to sleep with 50 women, but then they don't want a woman who's got more than 5. It's weird.
But how they know? How they know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you know what women do?
What?
Lie.
You
know what men do? Lie.
Okay.
Kids?
Okay.
Lie. Okay. Grown-ups? Lie.
Okay.
Come on.
But to finish this one off, like, they have this huge emphasis on ageism, that they're always trying to prop up the 20-year-old woman, the 20-year-old smoke show, the hottest young woman, the woman at her peak age and attractiveness. They think is the 20-year-old. So like I've talked to my friend Chris, I call him my red pillar best friend, and he says, or maybe other men and online will say, Beyonce was hotter at 20. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I think Beyonce's kind of like, she gets better with age. But like in this red pill space, they try to basically say they try to frame women who are like 30 and older, specifically 35 and older, is like they are not appealing. They have nothing to offer.
When was the last time you seen an advertisement on national TV about woman's pussy getting wet?
Wow, I didn't think it was going to go there.
When was the last time you seen an advertisement on TV about a man's dick getting hard and pills being sold for that shit?
They do that all the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's men. Women ain't the problem. It's not about us.
Okay.
It's about y'all. What's wrong with y'all?
Got it.
That's period. And there you have it.
But I want to focus on, just to end it, is like I said, the manosphere, they are trying to reinforce that you should be trying to age gap and date as young as possible. That dating your age is too old.
It's the men. They're running out of time because they haven't decided exactly what they want. They think they're young. Men run some Peter Pan bullshit for some reason.
Let me also piggyback this. There's this notion of a man gets more desirable the older he gets. He can always date younger. He's always got time to start a family. He's always got time to this.
But your dicks don't work anymore because they're selling that on TV, on national TV.
Okay.
That's the rest of the world. Pussy's gonna make the baby.
Okay.
Pussy's gonna bring the man home.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So I just wanted to that was good. Let me stop sharing. What's up, BA? Let me make sure I'm not sharing anymore. So actually I wanted to say something to BA, since BA is in the room. Since I last streamed, Zed had a couple of episodes that were kind of like Chris-a-thons, and she was basically like splicing old live streams together that I had made, and some of the content I didn't necessarily remember. I want to say this, since BA is in the room, I was going to say this, regardless if BA was in the room or not. I listened. One of the things that I definitely didn't like about that was the way I was talking to BA. I want to say I apologize, BA. I'm not, I like Quiet as It's Kept. I like BA. But I think over the years, BA and I had kind of gotten into it sometimes in arguments. And like I said, some of it, it had me kind of like not regretting, like, damn, I was saying that stuff. I said that, said this. So I apologize, BA. And like I said, like, I just like anybody for this channel, like I want the best for y'all. And I think with BA specifically, he's a person who makes great content. He's historically kind of come on the panel, adds a lot of great content, a lot of great opinions. But like I said, like I listened to that Chrisathon and I was like, I love the Chrisathon, but I hated how I talked to BA. His name is Brothers Abroad. So I want to apologize for that personally. I think sometimes I took things too far, so I want to apologize. But good to see you, BA. Let's see. Men generally aren't interested in raising another man's kids. There are countless videos of men who do a DNA test. So we're going to talk about this. There's countless men who do a DNA test on kids and learn that they're not his biological offspring. So that's another thing that's kind of spreading the manosphere, is like there's this fear of like, no matter if you get married to the woman or you're dating the woman, if you have kids with somebody, you could be unknowingly going through a pregnancy with someone else's child. You think it's your child, but it's actually someone else's child. And I'm like, where is this happening?
And why are you screwing women where you have to get DNA tests like this?
Facts.
Like, why are you fooling around with women that you don't trust like this? Like, who are these hoes?
Yeah. So like I said, like it's different. The problem is like I think that it does happen, but like if you look at the studies, what they quote is there's like a study that had like, I don't know, 60% fails, like 60% of the men were not the father. But these were men who already kind of like had an inkling or an idea that they weren't the father. They questioned the paternity. And this was like maybe like, I don't know, 20,000 men. And so what the manosphere will do is say, oh my God, 20%, 60% of all pregnancies, there might be a serious issue where 30, 40, 50, 60% of these men are not the real fathers. And it's like, when you really do the math, this issue that we're talking about, they call it false paternity or fake paternity, or I forget what they call it, paternity. Someone tell me in the chat, but the paternity fraud, that's what they call it. The paternity fraud is really like a 0.3 to maybe 3% actual thing. So the manosphere tries to do is they try to say there needs to be DNA testing at birth to prove that the man is actually the father. DNA tests can get done, but men don't do them because this isn't a thing. It's not a thing. It's not really happening. And to your point, these are certain types of people messing with certain types of other people to have this situation.
Him and his egos.
Correct. So I don't want to burden. I can do this all day, but what are some topics that you'd like to talk about? Like, I want to try to see if there was stuff that I still had. But this, like I said, to DKT's point, this is like a fear that I think that they kind of take to the extreme. They're scaring men out of marriage because they're like, a divorce is going to just ruin your life. They're scaring men out of having kids because they're saying child support's going to you're going to lose everything you own. Mm-hmm. You're going to be homeless. You're going to be living on the street. Oh, the same thing with you can't feel confident about having children with a woman because you could be raising somebody else's baby. It's just a lot of fear.
Background check.
Right.
If you're that scary about dating a woman, black woman, whatever woman, God damn, just do a background check and just get it over with, so you can just be comfortable. Like, what else do you need? And
it's like I said, they can. To your point, they can run a background check. They could swab, but they want mandatory paternity tests at birth because even though it's available now, the man is too scared to say, hey, you know what, would you be okay if I did a paternity test? So it's like there's a lot of issues with this. It's like, yes, it's unfortunate that some men might be in those situations, but they could have gotten a paternity test at any given time. They chose not to. That was their choice.
Why are you with a woman that long where you would need a paternity test after 9 months of her being pregnant?
Right.
Like, are you that desperate for a woman? Or like, I don't know. It just seems like weirdo behavior.
Right. And the whole, that's like you locked in on the whole manosphere, the whole alt-right, the whole right-wing kind of conservative male social media stuff. It's weirdo behavior.
It's real weirdo behavior.
And they're trying to normalize being weirdos.
Mm-hmm. You can. You cannot.
They're doing it. They're doing it well. They're
normalizing being a white man.
Facts. But I did want to say, like, just as like a little a little small highlight, like R.I.P. James Vanderbeek, the guy from Dawson's Creek.
Wow.
He passed away.
What cancer?
Yeah, he had colorectal cancer. Then the people from also the ICE shootings as well. I want to see if there was anything else. I guess, I mean, it might be a lot outside of your knowledge because I don't think you really follow the Passport Bros. I barely follow them. I think I was telling you recently about how the Passport Bros, I think you know the nature of them is they go to other countries, quote unquote, because they're looking for wives and
it's like some 90 Day Fiance shit.
Facts. Good segue. We started watching 90 Day Fiance and we started watching True Blue with Chris Hansen. And I feel like those both might be segues into the Passport Bros. It's like it started to really blow my mind, like what certain people are into. And honestly, as a hot take, the Passport Bros might be going overseas so they don't get caught by Chris Hansen. Honestly, some of them, maybe not all of them, but like, but to that point, one of the biggest bombshells, the reason why I originally was going to do this live was one of their major influencers got caught in I got to use safe words on YouTube, a child traffic ring. Yeah. So now it's kind of got the Passport Bros scurrying around saying, well, that he isn't a Passport Bro, or this is not what we're about, and how do we prevent the next one? And he wasn't really a Passport Bro, and this and that. Or, one of their leaders, Austin Hallman, said, who was going on maybe a handful of excursions with this now guy who's on trial for this stuff. He's trying to distance himself and saying this guy's a weirdo, but it's like, how weird is he? How it's very convenient for you to say that someone that's traveling with you is a weirdo and got caught up in a child ring like this, a PDF file ring, and then you get to walk away unscathed. You're weird too. If you're caught, if you're caught in his whirlwind, if you're traveling with someone like that, making content with this person, you're weird too. So, like, I want to segue and say, that same guy, Austin Hallman, said, this is the reason why Passport Bros should have been a fraternity, so we could have audited and said who's a Passport Bro and who's not.
Fraternity.
Yeah, they get really passionate about this degenerate stuff.
Ew.
So he said this should have been a fraternity, and I thought I was giggling because I was like, it wouldn't have mattered if it was a fraternity, because this is the Passport Bros, with the exception of maybe BA and maybe some other ones, they are a legion of like degenerate low live dudes. So like if you went on an excursion 5 times and made content with a guy who's now on a PDF file ring investigation, you are poor judgment of character. That's something that was bound to happen. So it's like the problem is we have a group of we have a movement of degenerate men that are now struggling to figure out, yo, this guy Floyd who's in this PDF file ring, he's ruining our reputation. Mind you, that their whole motive was we're going to travel to countries for sex in red light districts.
Yeah, and back up, like fraternity, like they want to make it a fraternity. Like, what are those standards? And why does it have to be on that kind of level where it's like a secret society kind of shit? Like, what are you doing where it doesn't need to be shared with the general public?
Yeah.
What is happening with this group of people? Like, let me know. Fill me in. What's going on with the Passport Bros? Like, I don't completely know because that's not in my algorithm.
Okay, let's go back to this comment. DKT is saying he added a YouTube video of an elderly man who learned all his sons were not his kids. After 50 years of marriage, he learns the hard way. You meaning we, you and I are dismissing this man's fear of this as unnecessary. And I'm like, so he's bringing a point saying that there is a man who, and there are stories like this where someone is raising a kid.
This just seems like a long, like this. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
this seems like a one in.
It's like Aaliyah. It's 1 in a million. Yeah. Okay. So.
Who sent you?
But yeah, this stuff happens. But the thing is, like I've said this on a podcast, like there's ways to kind of like prevent this a little bit. Like you can choose to court a woman, you can vet, you can date with intention, you can get married, and I can just speak for myself. It's like when I'm going forward to getting married, I'm not thinking that. I'm not trying to focus on all the negatives that could possibly be happening. I never once thought about divorce as a way to getting married. If you and I have kids, I'm never going to think, oh my God, I gotta swab something because it might not be my baby. Like I'm not going to think about that. I know you. Now, if this would have been a fling or a one night stand, okay, there might be cause for that, to be concerned about that. But like to DKT's point, yeah, there's going to be some tragic stories in any conversation: child support, marriage, divorce, work, whatever. And that's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I'm saying, I think what I'm trying to say, DKT, is it's like there's a notion of a healthy fear of something. And there's a point where I think some of these men are, to Stephen Bartlett's point, Diary of a CEO, he wants to be so concerned about, incels not being able to pass on their genes. Well, part of that reason is we have men who are scared to death that having children means it's not going to be their child. Hold on. Let's see. Do you all watch Paternity Court of Maury's? No, I don't watch Maury. Like I don't watch Maury Povich on a regular basis. Is he still in business? But no, it's like these atrocities are happening, DKT. But they are statistical outliers. That this is not happening 30%. 60%. This might be happening 30%, 60% to a very small cohort of people or a town. It's not happening on a nationwide global scale at a 30, 60% clip. If these men were so concerned, as I was saying before, I'm going to repeat it. If these men were so concerned about paternity, they could, swab a child at any given time. They could swab a child at any given time. They could also get that paternity test at birth. It's like $100-ish. And I think the sad part about this, DKT, is yes, there's stories like you brought where someone is raising, honest for goodness, a family for umpteenth decades or whatever. There are, but there's also, let me see, I was losing my point. I was getting some brain fog. To your point, there are people that are raising families for 50 years, something like that. Fine. I think I've lost my point. I'm trying to get it back. Let me go back to your previous one so I can try to remember it. 50 years of marriage, he learns the hard way. I think to the woman on my girlfriend's point is like, there's some other thing. In most cases, there's some other issues going on that's not being addressed. We're trying to conflate this and say, oh, this is going to happen to every man. It sure as hell ain't going to happen to me. Because I'm going to vet the person. I'm going to get to know their family. I'm going to kind of get a sense of a pulse of what type of woman is this? All right. But like I said, like, it's sad that person, went through that situation. But, I'd love to see that video. I might try to do that Google myself. But I think the overwhelming majority of men are not going to be in a situation like this. We don't, you watched the video, I didn't. So I don't know the whole situation. Did he have these kids before marriage? Did he have them after marriage? And it kind of speaks to the, like, you can't control what someone else is going to do. So like, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least, but I think we're working too hard to scare ourselves out of we're leaning too much on the fear of it, just because there's someone else that has gone through a really traumatic situation. So that's all I got for it. It's like, but yeah, let me go back to it. Your newest point. According to DNA testing centers, nearly 1 in 3 men are raising children. 1 in 3 men are raising children oblivious to the fact that the child is not their biological. Okay, no. And like I said, according to those studies, that is true, DKT, and I need to like brush up on that. But this is not all men. Like this was a small sample size. I could be wrong. I haven't seen any studies that said that we can feel confident that this is happening. This is happening to the millions of children born every single year. I think when I've seen these studies, it's like 20,000 people and something like that is happening. But I just don't think it's really happening like that. Like, hold on. The guy in the video is a judge. His brother needed a kidney. They needed to test his sons. And man, like I said, I'm gonna look at the video and I'm gonna do some research for the next show. But I just feel like one thing that we also have to kind of question is, could this stuff be disinformation? Could this stuff be misinformation / disinformation? Is it actually true? One of the stories, to your point, DKT, they had the thing on HBO maybe like a year or two ago of that one doctor who was like a I guess a family planning doctor, and he was supposed to help women get I think maybe he ran a sperm bank or he referred people to a sperm bank or something like that. And the story's going all over the place. But in it, what he ended up doing was, instead of getting sperm from the sperm bank, he was giving the women, every woman in the town, his sperm. So like every kid in the town was like, to a significant degree, was like, he had like hundreds of children. And they had to find it through 23andMe or something like that. So like there are crazy stories. But like, I just don't think that it's statistically significant. And I'll come back to the next show with that. I'll do some research on that. The last thing I think I want to talk about is I wanted to talk about one of the things they talk about in the manosphere is child support. So they scare men about child support. And I did some Googles. I was talking with ChatGPT, and I spoke about it on some previous podcasts and said, because they like to scare men and say, hey, what happens to men if they don't pay their child support? They go to jail. It doesn't happen like that at all. If a man doesn't pay his child support, it goes into arrears. I wish I could pull it up on ChatGPT. I should have. But they don't send men to jail. Like, I think at max, maybe 14% of the men who are on child support go to jail. But the people who are going to jail have to cross a lot of different hurdles. Like I think they have to miss payment. The courts are typically trying not to send these men to jail. They have to have maybe left the state. They have to be maybe not pursuing employment. They have to have amassed a certain amount of money in arrears. But there's a lot of these situations of men who are going to jail for child support. It's like a fantastical situation. I'll have to, bring it in the next show. But they try to scare these men with, you can go to jail for child support. Yes, you can, and so can a woman. If a woman was, responsible for paying child support and she doesn't pay it after, a certain period of time and getting served from the court and still not paying it, she can go to jail too. So it's just like, I think the weird part about, also, like I said, I'll bring in another show, but what I wanted to say was like, it is a very intricate process for a person to go to jail for child support. It's not as easy as these social media influencers would have you believe. I think that might be the only, what might be, before I get out of here, I got to talk about the Oscars. Sinners is nominated for a record. I think it's just a record in general. It's set a record for nominations, 16. One Battle After Another and Samari Supreme got 9, and Sentimental Value got 9. I have not seen Sentimental Value. I've seen Sinners 3 times. I've seen One Battle After Another once. Saw Samari Supreme once. Very good acting. Very annoying film. Don't want to ever see it again. Hamnet won Best Picture at Golden Globes. I went to go see that after I found that out. It's gonna be that movie's gonna be a fucking problem, and it might win Best Picture at the Oscars. I think I saw this Waving the White Flag episode, and someone said, who's the movie critic, he said, Sinners is nominated for 16 Oscars. I think it's gonna go 0 for 16. That's not fucking possible. I think it's not even mathematically possible. So one of the recent movies I did go see was The Secret Agent. It's got the dude from Narcos. He won Best Actor at the Golden Globes. I think Timothy Chalamet or whatever is how you pronounce it, from Marty Supreme. I think he got Best Actor at the Golden Globes. But I just want to mention that for just before we get to the Oscars. I don't think Sinners is gonna win it. I've been ragging on Anton Daniels, but I just wanted to say, like, in a lot of his no shade to the neurodivergent community, but I think that there's something off about Anton. I really do. He claims that he's a nerd, and I think just like how the Passport Bros are a negative influence on Black men traveling, I think that people like Anton Daniels are a negative influence on Black nerds, blurs. Nerds don't act like him. He's a bad influence on nerds. He gives us a bad name. I just want to leave it with that. Let's see. You guys see Sinners, TKT. Go see it. No judgment. See it whenever you get a chance to. I think you and your wife will love it. Especially if it ever gets brought back to the theaters, they might do that before the Oscars premieres. It is incredible. The woman who I'm dating, you want to talk about any specific topic before we get out?
No, love you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, everybody, that's a good point. Everybody, happy Valentine's Day in advance. I'll see y'all on the next one. Have a good night. See ya.